In today's video, we're going to be covering 10 different things that you can play while you're accompanying in Dadra. So we'll start with the teka, and then from there we'll progress to various different things that you can play at different speeds, and they're also for different skill levels, and that'll make sense as I go through them. So let's start with the teka. So everyone, I assume, knows the teka for Dadra. Da dinna, da dinna. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's 6 beat. So here we go. A bit faster. Very simple. This is just a teka. You can use this anywhere. Pretty easy to play. You can even use it if you're tired. If you don't have the stamina to play anything else, this will work just fine. And technically, you will be playing Dadra. So you're not doing anything wrong by just playing this. May not be the most interesting accompaniment people may have heard, but technically it's still right. So let's go to the next one. Dhati dhada tunna nati dhada tunna dhati dhada tunna nati dhada tunna. This one will be slightly harder than the last one because you have a whole dhada tunna in there, and it does take a little bit of a slide on the baya, slide forward in order to play this well. I'll play it a bit faster. Now with that extra baya, this help keeps whatever you're accompanying to upbeat. It's not going to drag at all. So you'll be able to keep the pace well of the song or instrumental piece. And it's a good one. And make sure to accent the baya, like I said, to slide forward on the dhada tunna. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so this one, before I play it, has a couple of things. Dha tikna. Obviously, first line is played like normal. Then the ta on the second line has a cut with it, meaning ta. And then the tik also at the end has a ga with it, so tik. So it goes da tik. Bit faster. This, if I remember correctly, is a sort of Qawwali sort of feel to it. You'll hear this in a lot of, not when Qawwalis are at the highest speed, but when they're kind of building up, you'll hear things like this being played. And it's a good one. I believe this is where I heard it, and I definitely play this a lot when I'm playing Dadra. The thick sound is good. It cuts through the mix, meaning the mix, what I mean by that is, let's say you're playing in a Qawwali, there'll be a lot of instruments playing with you. So the thick sound will be heard even amongst all of them. Even if there's cymbals, a tambourine, things like that, the thick sound is very good for that. So let's now go to the next one. Dhinna tinne tik dha dinne dhinna tinne tik dha dinne. Now this is slowly going into some of my preferred things to play in Dadra, which have the dhinne sound, and I really do like that sound. So let's now play this. Bit faster. So this is another good one, has a dhinne in it. Let's now go to the next one. So this is played a bit different than it is written. The first two dhinnes are played quickly, and then the next line comes. So I'll recite it slowly, and then I'll play it. Now I'll play it. Now, that has a very different feel to it. Two dhenes in a row. If you all of a sudden start playing this in a Dadra accompaniment, does sound pretty good, and it gives a good change. It's sort of refreshing to listen to. Let's say you played the teka for a long time, bored everyone, then you bring in two dhenes, sounds pretty good. And make sure to accent the baya properly, and it'll sound very nice. Let me play it a bit faster. So that's a good one. Let's go to the next one. So more dhenes as I prefer. Dhati gine dene dene nati gine dene dene dhati gine dene dene nati gine dene dene. Bit faster. So this one is excellent if you practice this a lot and can play this at a very high speed. Sounds quite good. You will need to practice and master the dene bowls, but it is definitely worth it. However, before I mentioned how the thick bowl cuts through the mix, I don't think that the dene bowls, that will have to be for more of a ghazal or something like that, where there's not too many instruments. This will sound good for that. But if there's a lot of other instruments accompanying you, the dene, even if you practice it loud and things like that, may not be very loudly heard. So keep that in mind. Now let's go to the next one. Finally, we're getting more into some teka bowls, naga, things like that. Dha tete ghere naga dene naga na tete ghere naga dene naga dha tete ghere naga dene naga na tete ghere naga dene naga. Bit faster. This is a good one. This I kind of adapted from one of my favorite things to play, and I guess Tintal you can say is dha tete ghere naga dene naga dha tete ghere naga dene naga dha tete ghere naga. And I just, after you practice that for a good bit, you really want to play that everywhere you go because it's very unique sound to it. So this is how I adapted it to 6-beat. And it sounds good as a double speed, something to play to as like a luggi basically. So definitely practice this one and play this. So dha trike dhine tin ghena nati na trike dhine tin ghena nati. Now, this is a good one when you're about to build into the double speed that you're going to play, meaning you play this a few times and then you go into your luggi. Like let's say you start with the teka, then you play this, and then you go into your double speed. Because since this has treke in it, you can play it fast, but not as fast as some of the other ones that I've shown so far. So let me now demonstrate this. Bit faster. Now I just added a bit of a ghenanati at the end, just to show that you can kind of use this as a transition into something else. For example, all those dhati genes can go into the dhati gene dene nati gene dene, something like that. It's a good way to transition. Another thing I like acoustically about this piece is you have a treke and then a tin. So when that tin is perfectly tuned to whoever you're accompanying, it sounds very good right after a treke. So this is another good one. Next one. So another terekita one. Dha terekita tak terekita na tete ghere nag terekita. Dha terekita tak terekita na tete ghere nag terekita. Reason why there's a gere nagaterekete at the end is because it would be a bit difficult to play the cut sounds. Those are generally not played at extremely high speeds. So here we go. Now, at the end, what I did to make it a bit easier, and I've said this before, the first bowl in the terekete, the te, I use the middle finger. So when I play this faster, you'll see why I do that. Makes it a bit easier, and you can start it a bit easier instead of using these two fingers as the first te in the terekete. Another good one, the tereketes will give a good rolling effect to whatever you're playing. So this is also good to use. So now we're going to be using some basically nanagene bowls. So this goes dha nanakene na dhanagene, dha nanakene na dhanagene. Bit faster. Good one. And also this one I would say is pretty easy to play fast because there's not a lot of bowls you can see. So it's pretty easy. I made a video about practicing all your nanagene bowls. Use that for a while. This will be a piece of cake. So let's go to the next one. So dhati tikna nati tikna. This is something played in Kerva. People play it at high speeds. It's basically a luggi. So this is basically that adapted to 6-beat. So it goes dhati tikna nati nati tik dhanati, dhati tikna nati nati tik dhanati. Bit faster. This is also a very good one. The thick, like I said, will cut through the mix very well. This is good. And the other good thing about some of these that you adapt from, let's say, Kerva and things like that, is they don't require a ton of practice again in Dadra. Meaning if you've already practiced and somewhat mastered them in Kerva, it'll come very easily in Dadra as well. So let's see what's next. And that's the last one. So that is 10 different things that you can play in Dadra. Use these as you see fit and use them while having a sense of music in your head. Don't play the terekete in double speed when who you're accompanying is just starting their piece. Of course, use that at the sort of climax and just practice them well and they'll come quite easily. And feel free to comment below anything else you'd like me to cover. Thank you.